Hurricane Irma update: track shifts again. South Carolina coast still at risk. Forecasters warn that while record-breaking Category 4 Hurricane Irma's latest models look better for the South Carolina coast, the track could still change dramatically within the next 48 hours as the monstrous storm turns north near Florida. Record-breaking Hurricane Irma was downgraded to a Category 4 storm early Friday morning and has continued to weaken, but still threatens lives and property in the area, according to the National Hurricane Center's 8 a.m. update. The expected path of Irma continues to shift, with its most recent track forecasting the storm moving overland as it moves up the Florida Peninsula. This would put the storm west of the Lowcountry as a tropical storm instead of as the Category 3 major hurricane that was anticipated when Irma was expected to approach from over the Atlantic, but it will still be dangerous, forecasters warn. Obviously, the longer it is overland the weaker it could become, but the Florida Peninsula is very narrow, said James Carpenter, meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Charleston. There is still reasonable access to moisture from the ocean on either side, so it may not weaken as much as anticipated. There is still a lot of uncertainty about where it will be over the peninsula. It could even ride right along the coast. Carpenter explained that even as a tropical storm, Irma will still carry the threat of storm surge, tornadoes and heavy rain. Underneath the storm, there is a large dome of water. That is the storm surge, said Carpenter. As the storm moves up the coast of Florida, the dome of water is also going to be pushing up the coast of Florida, and the only place for it to go as that storm is going north is north. And who is north of Florida? As of the Hurricane Center's 8 a.m. update, Irma was low 450 southeast of Miami, moving west-northwest at 16 miles per hour and boasting sustained winds of 150 miles per hour with gusts up to 190 miles per hour. While the storm has continued to lose steam as it approaches the U.S. mainland, but is still a formidable beast. Florida, which will get the worst of Irma when it collides with the Sunshine State as a Category 4 on Sunday, is under a state of emergency, as are Georgia and the Carolinas. Evacuations. An evacuation order has been issued for Saturday in the city of Savannah. Meanwhile, South Carolina Gov. Henry McMaster has said that he expects to issue evacuation orders for some coastal residents on Saturday. Evacuation routes are expected to be crowded and limited, said Lieutenant Colonel Neil Baxley of the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office in a press conference Thursday, and people are advised to pack up and leave as soon as possible. Hurricane warnings have been issued in the Florida Peninsula from Jupiter Inlet around the peninsula to Bonita Beach. The Florida Keys and Lake Okeechobee are also under a hurricane warning, as are the southeastern, central and northwestern Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos Islands and the Cuban provinces of Camagüey, Ciego de Avila, Sancti Spiritus, and Villa Clara. Hurricane watches are in effect for north of Jupiter Inlet to Sebastian Inlet and north of Bonita Beach to Ana Maria Island in Florida, as well as the Cuban provinces of Guantanamo, Holguin, and Las Tunas. Tropical storm warnings are posted for the Cuban provinces of Guantanamo, Holguin, and Las Tunas. Storm surge warnings are up for the Florida Keys and the Florida Peninsula from Jupiter Inlet around the peninsula to Bonita Beach. A storm surge watch is in effect from north of Jupiter Inlet to Sebastian Inlet and from north of Bonita Beach to Venice. When will Irma's effects be felt in the Lowcountry? A small craft advisory has been issued for the waters of South Carolina and Georgia, and there is a high rip current risk along the South Carolina and Georgia coasts. Conditions along the South Carolina and Georgia coasts are expected to deteriorate as early as Friday, with rising tides and coastal flooding possible Friday night. These waters will continue to rise as Irma closes in, and dangerous storm surge will become possible according to a press release by the Weather Service in Charleston. As Irma passes through, high winds will carry a possibility of wind damage according to the Weather Service report, and could lead to widespread power outages. Georgia is expected to be hit hardest, but the Lowcountry could feel these effects as well. North and east of Irma's center, tornadoes might be possible. Tropical storm force winds could begin to present as early as Sunday evening across the Lowcountry, but will be more likely before sunrise on Monday, according to the Weather Service.